Hello friends, Angelo here. Welcome to the third part of the series of videos on the sexual persona. We are talking about the sexual persona because this is the main leverage point for you to make the greatest shift in your life as a gay man. So learning about what the sexual persona is on a psychological level is truly transformational. In the last video, in the second part of sexual persona, we talked about the functions, the three functions. It's a proxy, it's a mask, it's a protection. You have to understand these concepts, so please go back to the second part of this video series to learn about all of that. Today, we're going a little bit deeper into the mechanism that this sexual persona is created in. More specifically, the psychology of the process, so that you understand how is it that all these gay guys out there, everybody is falling into the sexual persona. Why is everyone taken hostage into a sexual persona to begin with? What is the environment on a psychological level? That's what we're discussing today. So please subscribe to this channel if you enjoy learning about these kind of things. I'm here to educate all of us and keep learning about what is really going on in our lives as a gay person, what is happening on a sexual level, so that we set our lives free. Because I think that there is a beautiful way to be as a gay person, but often it's covered up by layers and layers of confusions and psychological situations that are so complex that it took me 15 years to understand many of them. So I'm sharing with you wisdom that took me over a decade to understand myself. So a lot of these ideas will be new. You are not going to hear a lot of other coaches talk about this because this is so, I would say, advanced. So let's start by understanding what's happening when we go out into this gay world, when we come out or begin the coming out. We are entering the trauma life. Everything out there is a surprise. Everything out there is new about how to be gay, gay sex, meeting gay men, connecting with them, all the things that we thought that it was going to be one thing, it actually turns up to be something completely else. There's more ghosting, there's more rejections, there's more abuse, there's sexual abuse. It feels like what seemed to be a very tight-knit, loving community, the gay community, ends up being something quite toxic, quite traumatic. And so we are in this trauma life when we start out our gay life. So we don't enter into this fully ready, happy experience of being gay. We enter into just the opposite of that, into a traumatic experience of being gay. Most of us don't really come out fully. We come out only sexually, and it seems like the coming out process, it's a sexual freedom kind of thing that everybody just uses the word coming out, but in reality, it's just about how to be sexually free to do whatever you want to do. So that's really what's going on with the coming out for most gay men. And so we are fragmented. We only sexually experiencing each other. We're not experiencing each other through complex social interactions, teamwork, leadership. So instead, we have this trauma-minimized life. In that kind of environment, our consciousness is going to look for the greatest source for validation. This is so critical because for you to be somewhat operating normally in your psychology, you have to have feedback from other people. So the validation process is the process towards which you're going to be adjusting your life. And that will become sex because it's the easiest. It is something that does not require any coherence in your emotions, in your logic. You simply have arousal. And so sexuality becomes the energy source to channel out your validation requirements. And so the sexual persona will be naturally created and you will become split. The most radical way to experience splitting is to date someone who has a borderline personality disorder. For the first week, he loves you, and then something happens, and he's gone completely. And he hates you forever. So first he loved you, and then he hated you. That radical transition is called splitting. in the gay world, we have a personality split alongside of the sexual persona, where one day you are gay in general, and then another day you are just a bottom or just a top. You see? The splitting and the inability to go back is what makes this such a really interesting psychological process, where one day you were just gay, and then another way you were gay, and then you were a bottom, a sub-persona of being gay. That's splitting. And this splitting happens because of the trauma, the chronic trauma, the breakups, the ghosting, the rejections, the trivialization, the dismissals, the sexual objectification. You're just a sex object. Well, then you're going to create a sexual persona here, because you have to split in order to align your behavior, your consciousness, to the greatest source for validation. You see radical examples of this with gay men with large penises, that they become this dumb top, and he splits, and his sexual persona gives him all the validation that he needs from most gay men. So that's why all these guys brag about it so much, and they promote it so much, because they get so much value in such a short amount of time. But obviously it's a splitting. So it will come with a neurotic energy. Because if you, just like in a car, you've got, say, 5 gears. If you only drive on 1 gear, then you're ruining the whole engine, right? So the same thing happens with our consciousness. You're only running out of the sexual persona because that's what you get validation. But what about emotional validation? What about intimacy level validation for your beingness? What about existential validation for being gay? What about spiritual validation? None of that is happening, so you're developing a neurotic energy system. And that is why we have all the re-exaggeration of sexual kinkiness, because we have sensation seeking. We have anger now. We have anger. We have hatred, self-hate, self-blame. We have disowning of our emotion states. So we have a lot of unresolved neurotic energy inside us. Hence, the need to unload it. And again, we are back to sexual persona, to unload it. So it's a vicious circle: sensation seeking, fantasy of submission, humiliation. And just check in with yourselves. Do you have a fantasy of submission or humiliation? Most gay men will have it because of the neurotic energy. So understanding this and seeing the bigger picture here helps you see that being gay is traumatic from most angles. And the sexual persona is at the center of it all. Okay? So reflecting on this, integrating this into your consciousness will help you set yourself free, that by choosing to have a sexual persona of any kind, it sets into motion very complex domino effects that come back to haunt you. And this is why when you look at the gay population later in life, this is why most gay men remain single, because this is so complex and very few people understand it. And very few people have the courage to say anything against the concept of a sexual persona, because everyone is so committed to it. We are experiencing sexual splitting, but then there is this extra commitment to being it. There is a fusion about a sexual persona. And that's the video for sexual persona Part 4. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my channel if you're new. If you are looking to meet gay men in a beautiful, healthy way, join us at the Big Gay Family social program. And to do that, visit the website biggayfamily.com. Okay, my friends, I hope this has been useful, and I can't wait to talk to you about sexual fusion towards the sexual persona, because that is the missing link in undoing all of this and breaking down this prison of a sexual persona. And I'll be talking to you about all of that in the next video. Okay, my friends, I'll see you then.